Peace to all the kings and queens that's out there. This is your brother, the 13th letter to the cipher, and we are BACKAGAIN on another fantastic, super sucker-free evening. It is a great, fantastic evening, and I'm looking forward to doing this video for you all. But first and foremost, I want to ask, how are you all doing? Me, I am absolutely great, fantastic, excited, full of energy, high frequency, all of that good stuff. That's right. And for all of my encouragers, supporters, I thank you. All of my sponsors, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I've been working on my other channel entitled MOPOWERZ here on YouTube, so you haven't been seeing me on the Mo Show Chicago because I've been working on my other channel. However, I had a video up there and I accidentally erased it, so I have to go back. I guess I got to find another way to do it better. So be looking out for more MOPOWERZ, MOPOWERZ on YouTube. So far, the channel is doing great. So I highly encourage that you all watch that channel and subscribe to it as well. You know, I had ran across an article in regards to intelligent people like being alone. For you people out there who have a mate, you know, a girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, or wife, and sometimes they may not understand you in regards to you spending that time by yourself. But what they're not seeing is that once you remove yourself from all of the negative energies that surround you, then you can focus on that high frequency or higher frequency that you're on versus being on that low frequency. And sometimes they're not going to understand because they are not on that frequency. It's that simple. I'm not saying that people who like to spend time alone are social. I mean, don't like being social. In fact, they are very social. And this is just not coming from the mind of your brother, the 13th letter. No, this is coming from the New York Times. Okay, don't argue with me. Argue with the New York Times. Okay, and they find that we are like very social. I'm very social, very outgoing. Hell, I'm on YouTube, but prior to YouTube, I had my own TV show for years. Okay, for years. And met a whole bunch of people, did a whole lot of things. But needless to say, I too like to spend time alone. All great men, even those men that you read about in the Bible, people that you read about in the Quran, people that you read about in the Torah, people that you read about in Hindu, Buddhist, all of these people spent time alone at one point in time in their lives in order for them to mentally develop on a higher frequency than many people are. Not to say that those people can't get on that frequency. I find that people tend to tune that frequency out. Some people just don't want to hear that positive, uplifting frequency or vibration. Have you ever been in a room and when you walk in, you can feel the negativity, the energy that's in the room, or sometimes you can go in a room and feel all of the positivity that's there. And when that happens, a supernova occurs, right? Everybody in the room is on point because everybody's on that same frequency. Okay? But right now, we as Black people need to get on the same frequency, a higher frequency, because right now Black people are on a low frequency, which subjects them to fear. And I bring this about because of what I've been talking about in the past, about how Black people need to do this, how Black people need to do that. And I'm really on point. I'm just being real. Some people feel it, some people don't. For those who it's not for, well, we'll holler at you later. For those who want self-improvement, self-upliftment, survival into a whole another level of life, well, we thank you for viewing the show, the video. And thank you for your energy. Okay, because we need to do a lot of things. See, just like those people that did something in Florida. Those people in Florida start doing squats and push-ups in front of the courthouse. They start doing something in front of the courthouse, push-ups and squat, letting their actions speak non-violently, but I'm not saying that that's something that you should do as a Black man or a Black woman, but I'm saying that my point is that these people are doing something to change their condition. And the reason that they're doing this is because they're tired of quarantine. They're tired of their rights being imposed upon. With all of the lies that's surfacing about what these people are trying to do to you, people are actually responding with action. That's what I'm saying. When the economy reopens and you have all of those foreign invaders in your community with businesses, we need to starve them out, run them out. The same way that they would run you out and starve you out if you was to open a business in their community. That's fair, right? That is fair, right? Starve them out. It has been a nasty, dirty game that has been played upon us. They have played a dirty, nasty game upon Black people. I mean, here it is, all of the European nations of the world, the English, the Dutch, the French, the Spain, the Germans, the Irish, the Portuguese, the Chinese, the yellow man, the Chinese, the Arabs, all of them have built empires and have made civilizations off the blood, sweat, tears, and land that they have stolen from Black people. That's an actual fact. That's not Mo talking, that's an actual fact. Yet you continue to want this economy to open up so that you can spend your financial resources with the very same people who don't care about you. It's just like Christmas again. This is like Christmas for the Black people in America when the economy reopens. Sad for you. It would be an economic holocaust for Black people again. That's just one thing that Black people need to do. In fact, if Black people are so broke and are so devalued in the world eyes and in the world of arena, why are all of these European countries and Chinese, I may add, have their hands in the landmass where Black people live and making them slaves while they are extracting all of the resources from that land which supplies the world? Check this out. If Black people have no value, why are you taking all of their shit? I'm just saying. Why are you taking all of their shit? Why are you killing them for that which you want, and then making them slaves if they have no value. We're not going to talk about good old America and how Black people have built America and have nothing. In fact, Black people have done so much for humanity recently. We don't want to talk about 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 years ago. That's a whole nother entity. We want to keep it just right here so that people who don't have that knowledge in years in history that I just spoke about, we're just going to keep it up to part where you're at right now. Because if it was not for the Black man in Nigeria, you would not have the internet. If it wasn't for the Black woman, you would not have your GPS. If it was not for the Black man, you would not have what you call stoplights right now. If it was not for the Black man, you would not have what you call what they call those things for heart? Pacemakers. If it was not for a man of color, you would not have, excuse me, if it was not for the Black man, you would not have your algorithm for Instagram. If it was not for a man of color, you would not have your email. If it was not for a Black man, you would not have a spoon. If it was not for the Black man, you would not have your telephone. We're not going to talk about Alexander Graham Bell. We want to talk about Lewis Lattimore. Okay? I'm just saying, if we don't have any value, we're not going to talk about the first successful operation and separation of Siamese twins. First heart surgeon, Black people, Black man. But you are devalued. And many more. The gas mask, Carter G. Woodson. The Peanuts, Carter G. Woodson. Who called him during the war. Not only did the government call him, but the Ford guy called him on how to make or extract rubber from peanuts. The Black man, but we have no value in the eyes of humanity. And you know what else? We allow them to do this to us. We allow them to kill us. Most importantly, we have to stop the police from killing us. We have to run their businesses out of our community and build our own so that we can reap the benefits just as they reap the benefits from us and then leave. Yes, we must circulate money within our own community. Yes, we must trust each other with a dollar. Yes, we must trust each other with each other ideas that we can form our own entity. Yes. We must do all of that. We must re-educate ourselves. We must do that. No one is responsible for any of this except us. But most importantly, as I said, we must stop the police from killing us. All of this comes from, of course, racism, white supremacy, which they deny. However, I was doing some research one day and I ran up on some material entitled The Racial Covenant. And in The Racial Covenant, it explains how this man, Arthur Lee, that stayed in New Brighton at one time, Black man in Minnesota, and they forced that man to move out of the community because of racial covenant. And in that racial covenant, no Black people can live in this community at all. Just like it has been forever. But this is in terms where you can go look at for yourself. And it's just on some simple, basic research material. I just wanted to throw that out there. But the attitude with this racial covenant not only is in communities, but it has extended to a worldwide mental plague, a mental wide world way of thinking to all nations of the earth, even unto Black people themselves. And I say that because Black people are killing themselves, yet not having the common sense to stop the police from killing them. We have to strategize a formula for this to happen. The government is not going to step in to do any of this for us. This is something that we have to do for ourselves. You may say, well, Mo, you're just talking crazy. No, this could be your father. This could be your son. This could be your daughter. This could be your mother. This could be your cousin. This could be your niece, your nephew, your grandmother, your grandfather. You got the picture? Not only is this happening here in America, it's happening in China, it's happening in Japan, it's happening in Russia, it's happening in England, it's happening in Ireland, it's happening all over the planet, where you have an invasion of Europeans that's taking over the planet. That's just real talk. Yeah, I know. Well, man, I already know that. Well, if you already know that, why are you not doing something about it? Why you're not saying anything about it versus posting all of this nonsense on social media? For all of you tough guys that's in the hood, you gangbangers, you religious fanatic people, all of that is unimportant. Your religion is unimportant. Your gang affiliation is unimportant. Your shade of your color is unimportant. If your pants is sagging to the ground, that's unimportant. We need a united front in order for this to stop. If you like your life, stop it. If you like the life and you value the life of your children, stop it. If you like and value the life of your mother and your father and your grandmother and your grandfather, stop it. All of you gangbangers, tough vice lords, tough GDs, tough stones, tough maniac Latin disciples, tough Latin jivers, tough Spanish cobras, tough Latin kings, tough Spanish kings, tough Spanish lords, tough dragons, tough imperial gangsters, all of that, tough bloods, tough Crips, because in the end, they're against all of us. In fact, if you did your research, there's more gangbangers in the U.S. than there is military soldiers. Now, just think if we can unite a front, because they're not just killing Black people, they're killing Mexican people and Latino people as well. But if you just want me to leave it as a strictly Black thing, not knowing that Latinos, meaning Puerto Ricans and Mexicans, are Black, if you don't want me to talk about that because you're just that ignorant, well, go stand over there by Walgreens, okay? All people of color are Black. In fact, the whole humanity comes from Black, right? But in this last phase of the germ that's within the Black people, the splicing of the gene, because it went from black to brown to red to yellow to white. That's right, to black to brown to red to yellow to white. White is the last color of the human gene pool. Now you can take that or leave it. I don't have to argue with you about that, okay? They even know that. If we don't unite, they will pick us off one by one. All of these white supremacist groups, these white militia groups, these white KKK cops, all of them will pick us off one by one if you do not stand up and do something for yourself. If we don't do something for us. You think I'm lying? Just continue to watch the news. You talk about the coronavirus and what's going on and how the cops and the police are just killing black people again, just as they did under the Obama administration. Well, according to the New York Post, did you know that during the flu pandemic that took place in Germany back in 1918 through the 1920, gave rise to the fuel and the atmosphere of the Nazi Party. And just ironically, here it is again. We have this coronavirus, this COVID thing that's going on. And right now you have all of these white KKK cops and white supremacist groups that's actually killing white people all of a sudden out of the blue. Now, you have to keep in mind, not only it's a coincidence, but you must also remember that during this influenza pandemic that took place in Germany, that gave rise to the Nazi Party in 1918 through 1920, you have to remember that they blamed the Jews for that, just as the Chinese had blamed the black people for the coronavirus in China. And about 20 years later, you see what the Germans did to the Jews. So let that be a lesson for you, black people. Think about that. Because 20 years from now, hell, they really plan for us to be exterminated, not to mention the fact by 2053 that we won't have anything anyway. What are you going to do about that? What are you going to do about that? You think about all that which is going on right now in Texas. How they shot the young black man unarmed down on his knees. The guy that's in Indiana, the young man that happened to be the veteran that was driving recklessly, that recorded his own murder on Facebook. Yes, the cops killed him and then laughed about it. What about the other gentleman that's down there in Georgia? He was just jogging, minding his own business. And then they had the audacity to say that 2 white men should not have been arrested. But if it wasn't for the notoriety that took place, well, it would have possibly been a different story today. Even now they got this black woman on there. She's the new DA for the case. Just may be as worse as the white one that they just fired from the case. Then you got this stupid lady, Candace. What's her name? Candace Owens. People like her who say that black people commit all of these crimes have no knowledge of history. Why? Because she's been brainwashed. In fact, she has what we call Stockholm Syndrome. Real talk. And if you understand how her family had owned slaves, and then she goes and marries the slave master. Stockholm Syndrome. Not to mention all of the violence that they were doing back then to black people. Killing them, raping them, chopping off parts of their body under the authority of King Leopold in the Congo. It's a whole bunch of reasons why black people should stand up. Trump say that black people have nothing to lose messing with him. Well, black people don't have anything to lose messing with themselves. Nothing at all. In fact, we have everything to gain. Everything to gain. What did I leave off at? Oh, the guy that was in Georgia. What about the two young men 2 years ago that was just hung, lynched in Oklahoma? Huh? Nobody's talking about that. Or did you all seem to forget about that while you was playing Xbox, watching the basketball wives, and worrying about why we don't have no basketball, no football, and no baseball? Think about that. It's real out here right now. What are you going to tell your children or your grandchildren when they ask you, what did you do in regards to what was going on with the struggle of black people and the police killing black people? What did you do, grandma, grandpa? What did you do, Uncle Jimmy, Aunt Barbara? What did you do? Why are you telling me not to listen to this bad gangster rap music? Why are you telling me not to smoke all of this weed all day? Why are you telling me not to drink on this lean? What did you do or are doing to help stop the situation? What are you going to do to help stop these police from killing us? What about the young man out there in California? Had a big fat white cop just all over the young man. He had his what, knee all in his chest, beat him in the face. That's just like me being 6 feet tall and I'm having a fight with a 4 feet tall person. And you got all these black people standing around on their phone, on their phone, on their phone, just taking pictures, doing nothing about it. Are you for real? My advice to you, my advice to you as an OG, my advice to you, if you are in the circle of people who would just sit back and allow the police to do that to an individual and don't do nothing about it that looks like you should lose them as friends, because they will do the same to you. Absolutely nothing when it happens. In fact, if you are around a circle of people that is afraid of the police, you should remove yourself from their presence and catch up with your crowd. And if you are of that crowd being a bitch ass dude, well, they're going to pick you off too. And when they do, I hope they do it however they do it. Death is bad, but not doing something about it is even worse. What are you going to do? What about that lynching that took place up in Glens Falls, New York back in 2008? What about that? Sandra Bland, what about that? What about the little fella that took place, what's his name, in Florida? You know who I'm talking about. The Zimmerman case. Trayvon Martin, yeah, what about that? And the list goes on and on and on and on and on. What about the Texas cop that was choking up on a black man after he was cuffed? It was 3 of them. Aren't you tired of the KK cops coming into your neighborhood where you live at, killing you? Even though neighborhood is just a place where you sleep and rent because you don't own anything, yet that's where you at. That's where your babies are at. This is where your livelihood is at, and you will allow a foreigner to come in and just kill you at will and do what they want at will. What kind of man are you? That's just like saying that me and my girl, we have our own castle, meaning our house, and this man who has an attraction to her wants to get me out the way. Well, the only thing that he would have to do is just knock on the door and come on in, because I'm not doing nothing to prevent him from coming in. So the same analogy I'm using this with them killing us. Are we being bitches? Are you being a bitch? So anybody can just run in and take your booty because it is the spoil of war, right? Take whatever you have and have no consequences behind it. But yet you'll rob me. You'll take my chain. You'll take my coat. You'll take my gym shoes. Hell, you'll shoot me for stepping on your gym shoes. But you won't kill the KKK. In fact, what would you do if the Ku Klux Klan showed up in hoodies walking down your block on the west side of Chicago on Fulton and Cicero? What would you do? What would you do on Chicago Avenue in Cicero if you see a whole block of Klansmen walking down Chicago Avenue in Cicero with hoodies on in the broad daylight? What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they just start taking your women, raping them right in front of your face? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do when they march down the street and just shoot you point blank range? Bang, straight in the head. Like you're a target practice. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do when they cut off the water? What are you gonna do when they cut off the internet? What are you gonna do when they cut off your cell phone and your TV? What are you going to do? Are you prepared for war? Because we are in war. And our lives are being taken. And here it is, you're voting for the very same people who are giving these police instructions to kill us. But you keep playing. In fact, did you see or read what the Washington Post said today? And how they had the sign, the other day, not today, the other day. The Washington Post had gathered footage and signs, billboard posters, or party big size posters pent up along Washington saying that to all white Americans, it is your civic duty to report any and all illegal aliens. They are criminals. Please call 1-866-347-2423. Washington Post. And the other, which I told you about, the Hitler, the Nazi Party, and the rise of it, that came out of the New York Post, May 5th, to be exact. And how this pandemic helped fuel the atmosphere for the Nazi Party. I'm just saying. You think about that. What are you going to do? Which reminds me of a conversation that I was having with the person from Minnesota. This person in Minnesota asked me this. They said, Mo, why can't Black people just forget about what happened to them in slavery and what's happening to them now and just move on? Why do we have this black and white issue, and can Black people just move on? I really hope that you're watching this video, because this video is just for you. Not just what I'm speaking on right now, but everything that I just spoke of previously before this point. And by the way, if you like yourself, press that like button. If you don't like yourself, press that like button. Like, share, subscribe. It really helps out the channel. I appreciate that, family. This answers your question. No, Black people cannot just move along. How can they move along when they're being murdered every day wrongfully? Not to mention all of the injustices that they have endured for centuries at the hand of Europeans, white people. Stop me when I'm lying. I'm not saying that all white people are that way. No. Had it not been for some white people, Harriet Tubman would not have been successful. Had it been not for some good white people, Frederick Douglass would not have been a free man. Had it not been for another good white person, John Brown, he actually gave white people a vision of what they should be like for themselves. I'm not saying all white people. When I say white people, I'm talking about white people that rule the world. I'm talking about white people who are KKK people, KKK thinkers, Aryan hood. I'm talking about people who are just stupid, people who are foreign invaders, not just to black people, for humanity. Because white people make war on white people too. Just like the Germans made war on the Jews. White people do they violence against their own people too. Even Queen Elizabeth financed Hitler to bomb Poland. You understand? But in this instance, and what I'm saying and what I'm talking about, is black people. Because right now we are being killed. Not saying that it has ever stopped, but it is bluntly right in your face. You even have young little 7-year-old white boys walking up to grown black men calling them nigger. What the fuck are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Think about that. What are you gonna do? When they come to your neighborhood, when your nephew is next, when your cousin is next, are you gonna sit around and watch? Are you gonna sit around like you see these people on social media sit around with their phone camera and watch 2 cops beat a black man to death while 50 of you all just stood around and you say that you gangster in the hood? Show me you gangster then. Show yourself you gangster. Show your kids you gangster. Not by killing the black man, but by killing the KKK cop who's killing you. Every day we endure violence. Check this out. They have played so many dirty games on us. They have even went to the extent of dressing up in costumes, dressed as black people, killing black men. But under the mask, it's a white man. Under the costume, it's a white man. But yet, black people are the most violent people on the planet. Who would do such a thing? Who would do such a thing? The devil. That's who, the devil. The devil. You Christians want to know who the devil is? The devil is doing this to you right now. So you tell me, who is the devil? Huh? If I'm wrong, stop me when I'm lying. So now you understand that you don't have to wait for your Jesus to come, because you are your Jesus. And we have no friends. Dr. John Henry Clark said that we have no friends. Malcolm X said that if we don't unite, these white KKK supremacist group will kill us off one by one. And you all are not listening. You're too busy trying to find out what happened with Michael Jordan and Isaiah Thomas. You're trying to find out what happened with Lil Boosie and following Lil Boosie as he sit there and pour lean, and promote lean on social media. And that's who you follow. That's who you want to be like. That's who you give your energy to. That's who you give your power to, a dope fiend. And you making him rich. In fact, if you was to take away your power, your enemy from the music industry, it would collapse overnight. It would collapse overnight. And you can start your own music entity. But you can't sell out. You can't be a bitch ass nigga. And right now, we are being bitch ass niggas. And until we stop being bitch ass niggas, the white KKK cops is going to kill our bitch ass. And then who's going to be here left with your child, with your lady, with your wife, with your mom? The whole plan is to wipe us out. And after they wipe us out, extract all of the resources from Black people in that land mass. But we have no value, yet we supply the world with its needs to function and maintain its entity. And they use us as slaves. They use us for every tool that prospered them and is a con for us. In fact, we've been conned so much. We've been conned and beaten out of our common sense. So no, Minnesota, Black people cannot forget and move on with what happened to them without something being done. We have to come to some resolution. And in that resolution, it's going to require more than reparations. Hell, before reparations even started, Black people had wanted a whole nother state or two in this country by themselves, but white people who run this country wouldn't give it to them. We didn't want anything to do with white people because of how they mistreated us. We even, like I said, not only did we ask to move to have a whole separate state or two to ourselves, we even started our own business entity in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street, and we were so successful at it. They had our own banks and had much respect, didn't need anything from you. And you white people of America who run America bombed it, burned it down for no reason. Now you tell me, Christian family, my Muslim family, my Hindu family, my Jewish family, my Buddhist family, what type of person does that? Yet you going right to the voting booth, voting for them. Yet you going right to the voting booth to vote for them. You're willing to stand in the rain. You're willing to go through a drive-through with a Corona check to vote for a person to continuously misuse and murder you. You think it's just going to require money as a reparation? It's going to require a whole new way of thinking. It's going to require some people being cold. It's going to require some people being incarcerated, the real criminals. It's going to require a lot of things. But most importantly, it's going to require Black people needing a united front. And in that front, we have to stop listening to the stupid box, the urban garbage box, and the music that they promote so that we can focus on a united front. Like I said, your religion don't matter. Your gang affiliation don't matter. It don't matter what you are. It don't matter. Dope fiend, crack fiend. It don't matter. We need you on the front line. Can you sacrifice that for your life? Can you sacrifice that for your nephew's life, for your children's life, for your mama's life, for your grandma's life? Your mother gave you all that she could give you. Some did, some didn't. And for those who did, don't you think you owe her some form of protection? Some black women are scared to go outside because they're scared the police are going to kill them. The police is going to rape them. And yes, that has occurred quite often. In fact, in New York City, when I was staying there, hell, the cop raped this woman in the backseat whom he pulled over for a ticket. And he lied about how he raped that woman. But however, when they found her identification in the back seat that slips under the back seat, her ID was there after he said that he don't even know the lady. You understand what I'm saying? You call 911 for some help and you go to jail. They are not to serve and protect you, as they say on the side of the Chicago police car. They are not to serve and protect you. They are to kill you and take you to jail. They are to shoot first, ask questions later. What are you going to do about it? I'm just saying. What are you going to do about it? Last year, police killed over 1,000 unarmed black men. Over 1,000. What are you going to do about it? We've watched trials on TV, news, social media of them continuously killing us, shooting us. Could you be next? Could you be next? What does your heart feel like when the police go off? The police lights go off when you're driving and they're in the back of you. What does your heart feel like? What goes through your mind? What happens to your nuts? What do you do? So no, Minnesota, we just cannot forget that. But not only that, after you wipe us off the planet, you're going to resurface all of those Kemetic black artifacts that you have over in the Museum of London. Over 14 million. And you're going to bring those back to light and use it as your history. Your greatness. We gave life to civilization. We go from kings and queens to slaves to gangbangers to dope fiends to bitches. Fuck no. We just can't forget about it. Can we forget about the lynchings? Can we forget about our landmass continuously being taken? Can we forget about how they continue to violate us every day and treat us like 3/5 of an animal, which they still consider us as, despite the 13th and 14th Amendment? Could we forget when we're constantly reminded of how they feel about us? Can we just forget about it and move along while they shoot you down in the street like a dog? While they lynch you in New York? While they lynch you in Oklahoma? While they burn your churches and say that they're Trump supporters? Can they shoot just your children for going to the store, for getting a soda pop and some candy? Can they roll up and shoot you just because the 7-year-old white boy said that the nigger was doing this or the nigger was doing that? Or the incident that took place in St. Paul where you had that KKK member, Anthony Tripolati, whatever his name is, shot and killed the unarmed dude, Doug Lewis, and said that he wanted to make sure, he wanted to extinguish the threat. He wanted to extinguish the threat. Who used that type of language to white police officers? Somebody in their own club. White people are on a code. They are on a racial code. If you think that your white friends are not on a racial code, you're wrong. Now, there are some good white people. Don't get me wrong. We just went through that. I'm not saying that there are not good white people, because there is. But we know that they're not police. In fact about it, not only do they lock you in chains, the police lock you in chains, their wives, which are the teachers, miseducate your children. And after they're miseducated, their husband, the white KKK police, locks them up or kill them. What are you going to do about it? So no, Minnesota, how can we forget about that? When the mindset of white people don't change and will never change. The majority. So while you're asking me about, can white people just forget about it and move on like it's never happened, how about you talking to racist white people about their behavior and why it is the way it is? You ask me, why do I do what I do? This is what I'm supposed to do. This is my purpose. However it may be. I teach white kids, I teach black kids, I teach Chinese kids, I teach Japanese kids, I teach kids. I'm a teacher. That's what I do. That's what I was born to do. And to re-educate silly white people. That's what I was born to do. What are you born to do? And if you're not doing what you're born to do, you should do it. Some people don't do what they're born to do because they are worried about not paying their bills. Well, if you're a single person, if you are a single person and have no responsibility, I highly recommend that you follow your dream and let nothing stop you. But first, we have to stop these KKK cops from killing us. It's right in your face. It's right in your face. You want to know what the 60s look like? Well, this is just a prelude of it. What are you going to do about it? We must strategize a plan to stop the police from killing us. Are you safe where you live at? Not only do you have to worry about the silly black people, you have to worry about the KKK people coming in your neighborhood as cops, killing you in a disguise. In fact, In fact, I remember coming up in the hood, we used to ask the cops to take off your badge. Take your gun off, take your badge off, and let's get it on. That's a real cop. A real cop would take his badge off, take his gun off, and get it on. And if you get your ass kicked, you go to jail. If you win, we'll see you on another day. But no, they don't do it like that. They're cowards. How can a man allow a coward to rule him? That means you're not a man or not standing up as a man. How can you allow a coward to rule you? All in your rap videos that you listen to, they say, we got guns. All in your rap videos, they say, I'll shoot you, kill you. That's what they teach you. That's what you listen to. Now listen to it and do something with it for the person that's killing you. That's killing your kids, because they're taking your kids to jail. They're taking your kids to jail and shooting you. So what's going to happen to them after they kill you? I mean, just kill you, just downright. Have you ever heard of the police killing a German? Have you ever heard of the police killing a Japanese person? Have you heard of the police killing the Chinese person? I never heard of a Chicago police killing the Chinese man. I never heard of Chicago police killing the Japanese man. I never heard of Chicago police killing the German man. I never heard of Chicago police killing the Ireland man. I never heard of Chicago police killing the Arab man. But I always hear about them killing black people and getting away with it every day. You talk about rights. There are some white rights, inalienable rights that you have, that you as a creator gave yourself, but you give your power away. Keep voting for the devil. Keep voting for the devil. Inside the lessons, it says that, why do you like the devil? Because the devil gives you nothing. Because the devil gives you nothing. And then there's another question in the supreme wisdom. It says that, can you fool a Muslim? Not nowadays. I say that's some bullshit, because a lot of you brothers that say that you're Muslims, you're fooled. You're fooled. So you can be fooled. And just for the record, we as black people didn't know anything about Muslims. We as black people didn't know anything about being a Christian. We as black people didn't know anything about being Hindu. All of that is the way we live. That is from our culture. People have revamped it, and you have accepted it as your own, and it's not. This is why your religion means nothing to them, because they gave you the very same religion that you are worshiping. That's why white people have no respect for it. This is why the Ku Klux Klan, who is a Christian organization, can burn a cross in black people's yard, because they gave you the religion. Huh? But they're a Christian group. But they're going to burn a Christian symbol. If you're too blind to see that, you just really stupid. This is what I'm talking about. Your religion can go in the garbage can. I don't care what you say you represent. We are being killed. What are you going to do about it? Share, like, subscribe. Share, like, subscribe. If you like yourself, press that like button. If you like what I said or don't like what I said, press that subscribe button. Share the video with somebody who's on that frequency of standing up for yourself and your life against the KKK police. I'm not starting a riot. I'm not inciting violence. but violence is being excited upon us. What are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? What are you going to do when the bad boys come for you? What are you going to do when the bad boys come for you? It's your brother, the 13th letter to the cipher. No, we cannot just forget and move along. There has to be some resolving. People have to heal. People have to be given things or take things back that has been taken from them. Check this out. It's always a problem. It's always a problem when Black people speak up for themselves. It's always that they're so controversy or they're anti this or anti that because they speak up for themselves. Why is that? Hmm? Why is that a Black person has to be violent when he speaks up for himself? Why? Because he won't let you just continuously put your foot in his ass? Would you allow somebody to just put their foot in your ass? No. How many white people will let Black people come into their community and just kill them? How many Chinese people will just allow Black people to come in their community and just kill them? How many Arabs will just allow Black people to just come in their community and just kill them? How many Puerto Ricans, which are Black people, will allow Black people just to, in fact, we integrate. So Mexicans, on the other hand, is a different story. How many Mexicans do you think is going to allow Black people to come in their community and just kill Mexicans? And so forth and so forth and so forth and so forth and so forth. But yet we allow everybody to kill us in our own community where we're staying. We're not even safe in our own community, not even from the police. But you got time to bullshit on social media. You have time to watch that dumb shit that they put on TV. You have time to listen to that garbage urban box bullshit that you be listening to. You got time for that. You got time to go kill another Black man for stepping on your shoe. You got time to go kill a Black man or beat him up because he sat on your car. But when the KKK comes in your neighborhood and you say you hood, what the fuck do you do? And you're going to ask me, can we forgive? Can we just move along, Minnesota? I don't think so. I really don't think so. Not to mention the fact, not only did the Jews get blamed, like the Black people got blamed for the coronavirus in, in China, but did you know that all of these people that were so-called arrested and ticketed with citations for not obeying the social distancing regulations were Black and people of color? Like I said, 20 years later, you see what happened to the Jews. So you look out. You take that as a warning sign. And I know you didn't know that. I know you didn't know that. It's your brother, the 13th letter to the cipher. Press that mash button. Stay away from the police. Don't drink and drive. Don't smoke weed in your car while you're driving. And if you are smoking in your car, take the keys out the ignition, sit in the back seat or the passenger seat. Okay? and have some love, peace, and respect for yourself. And by always remember, we must come up with a solution to stop the police from killing us. Will you be the next? What was the brother name that took place in Ferguson? Will you be the next one? Will you be the next Mr. Martin that got done in by a Zimmerman? Will you be the next two brothers that were hung in Oklahoma? Will you be the next Sandra Bland? Will you be the next person, black man, black woman, young or old, to be pinned on the ground by the cops being beaten, punched? Will you be the next one who is handcuffed, then almost choked to death by white KK cops? Will you be the next who is down on your knees obeying the cops and then they shoot you execution style? Will you be the next?